welcome to Mo Sports. It's a little different today because Mo is not in the building, but OB.KNOWS is here to make sure that the show runs smoothly, even though he is not here. Warm welcome, and it is a Monday afternoon, midday, lunchtime. I hope you are enjoying your day. I hope everything that you are up to today is looking a bit prosperous, and everything that you're doing is a bit looking in the bright side of things. Warm welcome to the show, man. We're here to talk everything football. Everything football, and I promise you, when I say everything football, I mean we're talking everything football. Everything football means that we're talking about what's going on in South African football. I mean, the PSL just came to a close this past weekend. Mamelodi Sundowns crowned the champions of the PSL, and already the awards took place yesterday as well. So we'll be touching on what's been going on in terms of the awards, even what happened at the awards evening yesterday. I mean, let me not reveal everything. We'll be back. We'll be talking a lot about that a bit later on to the show. We'll also be talking to Daily Sun sports editor, Mr. Mathews Mpete. He'll be sharing some of his knowledge on what it is, what rather is going on when we're talking about the NFD football. I mean, we do know that it is on hold. We don't know who's the champions as yet. So yeah, we'll be waiting to hear from Mathews Mpete what he knows about what's going on in terms of the NFD. But we kick off the show with a Mo riddle. You know how we do it here on Mo Sports. We kick it off with the Mo riddle, and the riddle has to come up. And when it comes up, right, the first thing you got to do is take out your phone and dial in the number 071-621-4746 so that you can also be able to interact with me on the show and give me the answer to the Mo riddle. And it goes as follows. I'm a South African international whose career kicked off in 1981. I started off at Durban City before joining AmaZulu and eventually found myself at Kaizer Chiefs, where I spent 9 years of my career before retiring. Who am I? Now, simply send me a WhatsApp. Like I said, 071-621-4746 is the number to dial. Let me know, what are your thoughts? Who is our answer to the Mo riddle today? And I want to make sure that you're also keeping up with the show. Let me know what your thoughts are on the past season. I mean, Mamelodi Sundowns, they did so well in this past season. And, one thing we can say is that they're taking South Africa to a higher level. I mean, everyone is really trying to catch up with what Mamelodi Sundowns are doing at this point. So I think it's pretty much a good thing that Mamelodi Sundowns are where they are. And you know what we do on Mondays? We usually look at the editorials and what is being said on the papers. And to start off things, we're going to be looking at what happened at the awards evening last night. It did happen, and Peter Shalulile was the man who picked up so many awards. Well, just two, right? But the amount of money that he won from just these two awards reached almost R500,000, and that means he was the big winner of the night. And I will share with you a list of the winners from last night in terms of the PSL awards. And we're starting, of course, with the footballer of the season. The footballer of the season also won the award of footballers. It won the award of players player of the season. So we're talking about Peter Shalulile picking up the two most important awards of the night yesterday when it happened. It was virtual as well. You know what's going on nowadays. It is COVID-19, so everything has to be done with protocols. And I can assure you that the event did take place virtually. And Peter Shalulile picked up two awards. And the coach of the season, something that a lot of people are debating about on social media, Benny McCarthy picking up that accolade. I mean, he was coming up against the two Mamelodi Sundowns coaches. I mean, I know you're wondering, but why aren't they three, including Steve Kompela? No, the only two that were nominated was Mpete and the one and only Rulani Mokoena. Those are the two people who were nominated, and rather not Steve Kompela. But yeah, Benny McCarthy came out trumps, winning it. Also, Mandla Ncikazi was also a nominee in that award. So unfortunately, Benny McCarthy picked it up, and of course, it's deserved. But let's get through some of these winners before I actually give commentary on them. I mean, young player of the season went to Evidence Mahopa from Baroka FC, and we're looking at the goalkeeper of the season. Not surprised by that one. It is Dennis Onyango who gets that accolade in there. And the defender of the season, no surprises for most people. I thought maybe it might have went to Musali Busa, but it actually went on to Swallows defender. They call him Roadblock, and they call him Stop Nonsense as well. His name is Njabulo Ngobo. He picked up the Defender of the Season award. And then Midfielder of the Season, it went to Themba Zwane. And I don't know if it's a surprise to some of you guys, but you know, looking at the people who was nominated with, it seemed more likely for him to pick it up, you know, in that space. I mean, he was also nominated for Player of the Season and Players Player of the Season, but at least he managed to pick up one accolade on that night, and that was the midfielder of the season. And then we go to goal scorer of the season. We all know who the top goal scorer is. Of course, he picked up the Leslie Manyatela Golden Boot, and we're talking about none other than Bradley Grobler, who picked it up with 14 goals this season. And the last man standing, of course, this is for the MTN 8, and it goes to Dion Hotto, who played for Orlando Pirates and also made sure that he got the equalizing goal in the final of that MTN 8 final against Bloemfontein Celtic. And then you look at the Nedbank Cup player of the tournament. It went to Washington Arubi. No surprises there. I did make that call, and I did say that, you know what, I think Arubi has done a brilliant job for TTM, making sure that TTM kept into the game and went on to penalties, and eventually, you know, making sure that he saved the penalty that made TTM win the tournament. So yeah, I think he did deserve that accolade. And the last one for the night, it went to Kanyisa Mayo of Richards Bay FC, who actually got the accolade for Nedbank Cup most promising player. Now, we do know that the Nedbank Cup, with this ski or nothing of theirs, they like, or rather they are all about developing South African football and harvesting the youngest and greatest of talents among the rough. So, you know, it is very good to see them continuing with this journey with the PSL. I mean, we did see that Telkom ended a 16-year deal with the PSL, meaning they won't be sponsoring the Telkom Knockout. So the Telkom Knockout won't be anymore a tournament to be talking about, but maybe there will come another sponsor that will come into that space and say, you know what, we are going to sponsor this tournament, and let's, you know, kick it off again, because we can't only have the PSL, the MTN 8, and the Nedbank Cup. We need another tournament that the teams in the PSL can compete for. And saying less, let's move on to Chippa United, right? Chippa United are a team that are currently sitting, well, they played the final of the Nedbank Cup, and they find themselves in the relegation promotion playoffs for the PSL, meaning that they'll be playing either of the three teams, Sikukune, Royal AM, or Richards Bay FC. So it's gonna be up for grabs for Chippa United. I mean, they playing for their PSL status, to keep their PSL status rather. And you know, questions are also arising onto the fact that what is going on with Chippa Mpete, the owner of Chippa United. I mean, he's making so many decisions, changing coaches. I mean, let's count the coaches. At the beginning of the season, he had Leshono Siyama at the helm, right? And a couple of games later, he moved on and fetched Dendens Malisela from TS Galaxy. Actually, he had already been fired by TS Galaxy before Dendens came to Chippa United. And then he moved on to bring in Siyabulela Gwambi, who was not the assistant coach rather, but he was the development coach for Chippa United. And he was put at the helm for a couple of games, sitting there as well. And then he was followed by Vladislav Heric, who took the team to the finals of the Nedbank Cup and losing it to TTM. And look where we're back at now. Leshono Siyama back at the helm again with Chippa United. So it's been a merry-go-round of coaches. So many coaches in a single season. I counted like 5 coaches in one season for Chippa Mpete. I think that's a big problem. You know, the players aren't getting a chance to get used to the philosophy of the team. They're not getting the chance to, you know, to be able to learn how to play together as a unit, you know, because when a coach comes in, he wants to do something different from what the other coach did, because he's looking at, you know, the mistakes that the other coach did, and he comes in and he's like, you know what, I want to chop and change a couple of things. And that happened 4 times this season for the players of Chippa United. So it doesn't surprise me that they are currently where they are. I mean, they are struggling, and they'll be hoping that they can gather some momentum towards the relegation and promotion playoffs, which might be taking place on the 11th of June, as Mr. Mpete will come onto the show and he will confirm with us a bit later on if it indeed are these playoffs going to be happening on the 11th. Because remember that what is going on in the NFD, in the courts, will determine when these games do take place in terms of the playoffs. So it's going to be very interesting to see what's happening in terms of that situation concerning Chippa United. But we want to move swiftly on to another big conversation that we should be having. I mean, something has been trending on social media regarding Orlando Pirates, right? And this is more regarding Zimbabwe more than anything. I mean, Coach Zimbabwe been at the helm for Orlando Pirates since mid of last season, taking over from Rulani Mukwena, who subsequently went back to Mamelodi Sundowns. Well, went to Chippa United for a detour, and then went back to Mamelodi Sundowns before getting that, before settling to be a coach at Sundowns as well. So we're speaking about a Pirates team here, which has failed to kickstart this season. For me, they still playing at mid-tempo. They haven't reached rather their full potential. I mean, I believed that if you're looking at the squad that they have, you're looking at the squad that they have, you're comparing it to a Mamelodi Sundowns team. I think they're the only team in the PSL that you can look at and think to yourself that this is the team that could compete or take Sundowns to the last edge, to the edge of the Premier League. And it's a very different conversation we're having right now, but AmaZulu are the team that are sitting in second place. So it's a big concern for Orlando Pirates fans, and they actually wanted to go and march. I haven't heard anything from the Orlando Pirates fans in regards to the march, whether the march did actually happen or what, because when Kaizer Chiefs went out to march, we were saying that, the fans, there was only 57 fans. That's what we were saying, when there was more than that, rather. But we were saying there was only 57 fans for that march. But, what I can say is that I'm not quite too sure if the march did happen, because the fans were going to march against Coach Zimbabwe. And I completely understand why. I mean, like I'm saying, they have the better squad. I mean, they have a good squad than so many other teams in the PSL. They should be doing a lot better. I mean, they got knocked out of the CAF confederations. And I think that is what sparked the anger from the fans, because, a 4-0 loss for Orlando Pirates is not a good thing at all, despite who the opponent is. I mean, heck, it could be Barcelona that Pirates are playing against, but to lose 4-0 in a game is not good enough for the Orlando Pirates faithful. And I do understand why, they are a bit railed or riled up by the lack of ambition from the team. I feel like there's a lack of ambition. I don't see what's going on at Orlando Pirates. And, the fans actually went out on Twitter streets, and they said they had to come out and they had to say a couple of things for themselves. And this is what they had to say on the Twitter streets. I mean, I'm sure the tweets are coming up on the screen, and you can take a look at those tweets and see what the fans are actually saying about Zimbabwe. And to be honest with you, I mean, I'm not siding with the negative fans, because you might say that OB.KNOWS is saying that, no, Zimbabwe should leave because of what the fans are saying. No, I'm saying that, the team needs a much better coach who can be able to deal with these players. And I'm not the only one. Even the fans are complaining, but there's also some fans who are saying, but hold on, this guy finished in a third spot position, which means we got CAF football again next season. They're also saying that he won us the MTN 8, ending a drought as well of trophies. So I do think that there is a varying amount of supporters. Although more are saying that he should leave, more are saying he should be given a chance. I mean, it is really up to you guys to decide on what the coach or what Pirates should do with the coach. Because Ivan Khoza, knowing him, he's a man who listens to the fans. He listens to the fans who say that, maybe we should get another coach. I mean, the Eric Tinkler situation, when Eric Tinkler had to leave Orlando Pirates, it was not simply because of the unhappy management. I mean, there was a bit of, movement to see where Orlando Pirates was going during the tenure of Eric Tinkler. But the fans are not happy. And when the fans are not happy, of course, the management has to respond. And I do think that that might be the same situation that we'll be looking at in terms of Orlando Pirates. Maybe the management are going to listen to the fans and say, maybe we should let go of Coach Zimbabwe, because do remember that come next season, the possibilities are that the fans will be back in the stadiums, and you don't want unhappy fans, especially Orlando Pirates fans. We've seen what they've done to stadiums when they are unhappy and when they've, not getting things going their way. We've seen what can happen with Orlando Pirates fans. But one thing I also wanted to chat about in terms of the PSL is the teams which I feel should have done better this season. Kaizer Chiefs, firstly, should have done way better. I mean, the way that they finished last season, they were not so happy with how last season ended. Of course, losing the game, losing the league title on the last day of the season. It was a tough one to take. And I did think that coming into this season, they might be a bit deflated. But for them to finish, well, they almost finished in 11th place. Yes, they did finish in 8th place, managing to get 2 big wins in the last 2 games. So I really do think that they had a very disappointing season. They should have done a lot better. But hopefully, come next season, once the new coach is going to be announced, I mean, I don't think Athazwane will be at the helm for Kaizer Chiefs come next season. But once Kaizer Chiefs get that new coach in there, I am hoping for much better results. Orlando Pirates is also another team which I feel should have done better, but SuperSport United, wow. they should have done a whole lot better. I mean, Gaetano Tembo will be very disappointed with the squad he has. I mean, he's got some very good youngsters. I think if we had to look at the age differences between all the squads, I would assume that SuperSport United have the youngest, or rather the lowest age average in the squad because of, you know, the young players they have. They've given so many young talents a chance this season. It's just unfortunate, and I must say, it's quality young individuals that have been given a chance for SuperSport United, but it's just unfortunate that they couldn't, you know, finish in a much higher position or get some consistency throughout the season. But luckily, they did finish in the top 8 spot, so they've got some positivity going into next season. And that's not where we round up our football chat. We are about to go to a break. After the break, we've got a very interesting conversation with the Daily Sun sports editor, Mr. Mathews Mpete. We'll be going into much more conversation on what's going on with the NFD and in the courtrooms of the NFD. We'll also be talking a little bit about that CAF football. I mean, Kaizer Chiefs still playing in the CAF competition, the last 4 of the CAF competition. We also want to hear a little bit about what he knows about Pitso Mosimane at the current stage. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
You are watching Super TV, Open View, channel 150.
How to register a new SuperBets account. SMS Super TV to 30978 and you will receive an SMS with a sign-up link. Click the link you receive, which will direct you to the SuperBets mobile site. Click login. On the pop-up, click register now. Fill in the required details on the form, from your ID number all the way to your contact details. Be sure to choose a strong password that you will remember. After filling in your details, click submit. In a few minutes, you should receive an OTP if your details were entered correctly. Back onto the SuperBets mobile site, type in your OTP. In a few seconds, you will receive a welcome SMS confirming your new account. A 50 Rand sign-up bonus will reflect in your account within 24 hours of your sign-up. Welcome to our family. SuperBets, bet with the biggest.
Cece, why so jealous? Just SMS Super TV to 30978 and get lucky yourself.
Big dog status, I'm a big dog vet. I pull up on the block in a big Corvette. Yeah.
You are watching Super TV, Open View, channel 150.
Warm welcome back to Mo Sports. I'm OB.KNOWS, holding it down for Mo. If you are wondering, maybe you just tuned into your television set and you see me on the screen and me actually introducing the show, then you're kind of confused. But yeah, you must know that Mo will be back in a few more days. Don't worry about it. But for now, though, I am driving you away and making sure that you know all that you need to know in terms of football and what's going on in the world of football. And we just wrapped up in the first segment. If you did miss it, we spoke about the PSL and the PSL awards, all the players who picked up awards last night in the PSL. We also had a brief chat about who I thought should have done a lot better in the PSL in terms of where they finished and in terms of the performances they gave throughout the season. And for now, though, we've got an interview with the Daily Sun sports editor, and this is Mr. Mathews Mpete. Mr. Mathews, thank you very much for joining us once again here on Mo Sports.
Thank you very much for the invitation.
All right, thanks. Let's jump into the PSL. Let's just get straight into the conversation. We're going to talk about this Mamelodi Sundowns situation. They recently just won the league title. They lift their league title in the last day of the season. And subsequent to that, we hear the sad news of the passing of a former employee at Mamelodi Sundowns, a former spokesperson, rather a media liaison at Mamelodi Sundowns. How much do you know of this individual I'm talking about, Mr. Mpete?
Yeah, very, very sad. And I think I should also use this platform to pass my condolences to the family of Tulani Tuswa, because I've worked very closely with him, for many years. Even before he joined Mamelodi Sundowns, I was still, in contact with him. And when he joined Sundowns, then we created this bond together. And he was one of those guys who would, we know him as a public person. And in most cases, I think he was too much, into his work at Mamelodi Sundowns. But more importantly, he was more into fans. Because, myself and him, we used to run a lot of competitions. Whatever he had at Sundowns, it might be tickets, it might be, whatever that is there, like sweet tickets for the supporters. Yeah. Then he would do it, and he wouldn't mind even traveling across the, province, to deliver those tickets. And in most cases, then he would even, bother me and say, I must come to the stadium, I must come to their suit. Then I would tell him that, what, I will be working. Normally I'm in the press box, but now they want me in the suites, and I'm not a sweet person.
You don't like the sweets?
No, I don't like the sweet. And just recently, when he was working under this, the new company that he was working for, the PR company, he was also getting in touch. And we did a lot of work. And the last I spoke to him was on Friday. Surprisingly, we were chatting about, the developments in Mpete Mosimani's, squabbles with Mamelodi Sundowns, as well as, Pito's wife and all those things. Then, because he was working closely with Pito, so he was sort of trying to calm down the situation. He was that kind of a person.
We will get into talks about that Mpete Mosimane situation a bit later on in our conversation, because it's one that I really want our viewers to be very well aware of. But let's talk more about Mamelodi Sundowns. We're talking about Peter Shalulile here, a player who we all feel gave a brilliant performance throughout the season, very consistent, picking up 2 awards last night. Do you think it was well deserved for the Namibian international?
Look, I think there's no question about it. I think Mpete deserved everything, because, if you count on how many Man of the Match awards that he's received, I think he's received plenty. And, the monthly awards, he received plenty. And now the May and June as well, he won something as well. So definitely he was one of those players. He contributed 15 goals for Mamelodi Sundowns, and he had about 7 assists. So it tells you something about Peter Shalulile. He was not selfish, and he played all the 90 minutes. I think, if I'm not mistaken, if I were to be a statistician, I think he played for about 2,161 minutes, and throughout the season. And he's one of those players who is not, selfish. He would set up, his teammates, your Mpete Rasmus, he would set him up. He would set up, Temba Zwane to score if he's not in that position to score, but he would give it to the other guys. And again, his character. We always, we all like his celebration whereby he jumps over the perimeter boards.
The coaches had to make peace about it. The last time we had a chat, I do remember we spoke about it, that, the coaches were concerned about his health because of this jumping around and jumping over the boards. They seem like they've just got over it by now, eh?
Yeah, no, definitely, because you can't control somebody else if he's feeling excited. You can't tell me how to be happy. No, when you're happy, don't smile. It's impossible, So for him, I think he tried to do that, but now he instead of jumping over the perimeter or the advertising perimeter boards, then instead he went to the corner line and he sort of kneeled or whatever he was doing, but that's the kind of person he is. So I think it's well deserved. For the Football of the Year, the Football of the Year is chosen by a certain top judging panel, and as for the players' player, it's chosen by the players themselves. So even the players, they realize that no one was better than him.
Yeah, definitely, no one was better than him. And speaking about knowing, we have there's a bit of a conversation about who deserved it more. And we're talking here about the coaches, right? We're talking about Benny McCarthy. He picked up the accolade of Coach of the Season. But a lot of people are saying, well, it should have went to Mandla Ncikazi because he had much less resources at Golden Arrows. And some are saying it was deserved by Mamelodi Sundowns because they won the league. What is your thoughts on this situation?
Look, as part of the panelists, or should I say, like part of the judging panels for the PSL awards, but I was not involved in the coaching one. However, I understand, where our my fellow colleagues, they were coming from. how it works is that we've got rules. You are guided by certain rules that we've got to follow. And I'm sure that my fellow panelists as well, they did the same. But now, talking about Mandla Ncikazi, I think he's done exceptionally well as well. But now you look at the team where currently is, and you look at the number of matches that they've lost, and you also look at the number of red cards that the team has received as well.
Yeah.
It definitely counts. However, again, Benny McCarthy, with the resources as well that he's got, and he managed to stay at position number 2. For quite some time.
Yeah.
And Benny McCarthy is an upstart, if I may to say that, in terms of coaching, as compared to Mandla Ncikazi, who's always been in the game. He's gone to Maritzburg, he's been all over, even at Amazulu itself. So, and, Mangowa as well as Rulani, they've got all the resources. But I mean, the Mamelodi Sundowns players, they can win the game even without a coach in front of them because it's a quality team.
Yeah.
And there's no way, there's no rule that says, the coach of the season must go to the coach who won the league.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no such a rule. Even somebody else who's at number 5 can still win it, depending on the guidance, by the rules of the PSL. So people are entitled to their own opinions.
Yeah.
Everybody can, share their own opinions. But fact of the matter is, the judging panelists, they were guided by certain directives, and they went by that. That's when Benny McCarthy has won the Coach of the Year.
Well, I think he deserved it. Personally, I think Ben McCarthy really did deserve to get that award. But let's stick to this KZN conversation because we're still in the KZN region. And earlier on in the season, Sandile Zungu took over Amazulu, at the beginning of the season. And he said that, when Benny McCarthy signed in, he said he wanted a top 4 finish, right? And not only did he want that, he wanted KZN football to dominate South African football. It's looking likely. We've got Richards Bay and Royal AM knocking on the PSL door. Do you think it's likely that a couple of seasons we might see a KZN team probably dominating the PSL?
It's refreshing, honestly speaking, to see certain teams, especially from KZN, dominating. And no one thought, Amazulu would finish where they are because they've rewritten history, their own history of about, so many years.
Yeah.
But, things change, and now a bigger question could be that, is the PSL going down or is the PSL going up? But now it's a matter of head and tail.
Yeah.
However, from like where I'm seated, I think it's a matter of the PSL having or PSL teams improving.
Yeah.
Challenging teams that they thought initially that they were the big ones. You look at Kaizer Chiefs. They went into the top 8 in the last game. So Amazulu, KZN teams, I think next season we'll see the best out of it because of Mema Tomatlala, the chair lady of Golden Arrows. She's aware. What happened at Amazulu, that she would like to compete. I'm sure that she's gonna add in more resources to the team. And Mandla Ncikazi, he wouldn't like to be beaten by Benny McCarthy next season. The competition is tight, and you look at Royal AM, if they are crown champions, then they would be the 3rd KZN or the 4th KZN team, after Maritzburg United. So now it's going to be hectic, and this is the challenge, to other provinces as well, because Gauteng has been dominant, and now other provinces are doing well. It's unfortunate that Black Leopards now has been relegated in Limpopo, but Limpopo was another province that was doing exceptionally well as well.
Yeah, but at least we've got TTM coming out of Limpopo right now. They still have a representative in there. But speaking of, we come back to this Royal AM situation, and we want to know exactly what is going on in the courts. There is, an arbitration that gave Sekhukhune the 3 points, which they rightfully deserved because of the situation that happened earlier on this year with Polokwane City. But the 3 points weren't awarded, and now we are here with uncertainty of who is the champion of the NFD. What is currently going on? Where do we stand right now with that situation?
Look, I think probably by the end of this week we should know, or we should get the outcome. But now remember, in football rules, of which I think all the teams are subscribing to. The arbitrator's decision is final. That's what it says. And now the arbitrator ruled in favor of Sekhukhune FC or Sekhukhune United. And now with Sekhukhune being given the 3 points, it's surprising now that the PSL is challenging that, and they say no, it doesn't have to be like that, because remember initially the PSLDC ruled that the points will be taken away from Polokwane City, who by then, feel that, they went to the game without having 5 under 23 players, and of which it's against the PSL rules. And now the PSLDC decided to find them guilty, and they took the points away from them. And now the question was, where do you take these points to? And are they just going to be going back to the PSL head offices in Johannesburg, or what's going to happen to the point? And Sekhukhune argued that, we played the game, we were there, we honored, we lost the protest in time, so we should be given the game because it should be a walkover. Because these guys, they failed the rules. And now the Sekhukhune management, they took the matter for arbitration. And the arbitrator, it's an independent person, who relies on the football rules. And he went by that. And he didn't go with the precedents that were set by the PSL or the former, arbitrators. They went according to the rules. And now the rules say the points should be given to the other team, and that's what he did. He gave the points away. And now, with this, then Polokwane City, surprisingly, they challenged this.
Going
because
to court.
To me, I don't think Royal AM has got a say in this one because, much as it affects them on the loft at the top, but now it doesn't, they've got nothing to do with it. They can't be lodging any, appeal or anything like that. And another twist or an interesting factor, to this whole situation is that the Polokwane City are the ones who came and appealed and said, no, you can't give these guys 3 points. But why? Because you've already lost the points. Then why do you need to complain? So that's what it is. And now my problem with the whole thing is that the PSLDC should be found the ones who were at fault, because this matter happened in January, and now by then it was not affecting any team, or it was not affecting the log table, but now the decision could have been taken in January or February, and appeals, then by then it will be sorted. But now we're sitting here towards the end of the season, then that's the problem.
I think the PSL were very incompetent by not handling this matter a lot earlier than it should have been. It should have been their duty to make sure that things are run rightly, correctly in terms of the league, but it wasn't the point. And how does this taint the image of South African football? All of this is happening. How does it taint the image of South African football from an outsider?
Look, this thing is happening every year. We see that with the very same problem of having PSL teams or NFD teams, struggling when it comes to going to the PSL. We're always having such issues. And of which I think the PSL must deal with it. And now the best way to deal with such things is to ensure that they their decisions, like when a team appeals, like the DC must sit within days just to sort that matter out, so that it shouldn't, exacerbate the situation. You leave it for about 2-3 months. Then when you deal with it by then it's got some ripple effects like it is doing now. Royal AM are now affected by this. And now Sekhukhune, they believe they should have been given these points a long time ago. So, by then, if they were given those points a long time ago, then Royal AM, they should have known what to do and, for them to win the PSL, the Clear Africa Championship title. So now it's a matter of just pointing the finger at, the PSLDC.
We're slightly running out of time right now, Mr. Mpete, but I want us to conclude this conversation of the NFD. When can we expect a final decision, and when can we expect the playoffs to kick off?
As far as I'm concerned, the PSL was supposed to, the playoffs were supposed to kick off on the 15th of this month. And I'm sure that maybe if a decision is taken by the end of this week, then we could see, the playoff taking place, from the 15th, and of which is not going to be easy. Remember, you'll remember me as well, because I think whatever decision that comes in, then there would be an appeal, coming from there, because currently I think there are judges who are involved and who will be going to. Remember, judges, they deal with evidence in front of them. Don't tell me that team in 1987, this happened, and so on. Let's deal with the football, what are they saying, and that's it. So, but I'm sure that there will be a lot of appeals, because we are talking about people who've got money here. Royal AM owners, they've got money. Sekhukhune FC, they've got money as well. So for you and me just to wait and see and, report about the matters.
Hi, we'll have to wait and see, Mr. Mpete, what happens there. But let's go back to that conversation before we round up this conversation. I wanna talk about that Mpete Mosimane situation. Where are we standing right now? I mean, we did hear that the wife of Mpete Mosimane, her company owes Mamelodi Sundowns about 8 million rand. What is the current situation there?
Look, since Mamelodi Sundowns, they've went to the High Court, we're still waiting for a date, for them to settle this matter. But now, being me, as a journalist, I know that this matter won't go that far because Patrice Motsepe, I don't think he realizes that, he's the CAF president, that this matter is affecting his image as well.
Yeah.
Mamelodi Sundowns, it's a Patrice Motsepe team. We don't care. His son might be there, Sloppy, but it's Patrice Motsepe's team. So now I suspect that Patrice Motsepe is going to tell his people just to cancel this whole thing because it's only 8 million rands for Patrice.
That's only 8 million. Mr. Mpete. It's still a whole lot of money. I understand why, Mamelodi Sundowns are still upset about the situation. But let's round off the conversation. Kaizer Chiefs, they're currently in the last four of CAF. They don't have a coach as yet. Who should come in? Who is expected to come in? And do they stand a chance to actually make it past this last four?
I'm sure they've got those chances because they remain the only team in the Champions League. But now we're looking at maybe Stuart Baxter could be the guy who's coming in, as speculated in the media throughout because we broke the story as well. But now for Kaizer Chiefs, I think they need a quality coach. And now they've got Molefi Ntseki who specializes with development, and Stuart Baxter, he's the guy who deals with the senior players. He wants the results now. So I think they will make a good combination. But now my problem is always going back to the coaches. You employ Stuart Baxter, he goes, then next day you hire him again. Yeah, so let's hope that maybe Stuart Baxter will be the man.
Right, we'll have to wait and see what happens in terms of Kaizer Chiefs, and hopefully they can make it into that last four. It's a tough encounter against Wydad, but all the best to them, rather. And Mr. Mpete, let's round it up. Where can our viewers find you in terms of social media handles?
On Twitter, it's Mathews Mpete, as well as on Instagram and on Facebook as well. I'm just using my name. Mathews, 1T. Don't do double T.
How did you get there? Like, was it you decided we're going to figure 1T, or your parents like, nah, we're going to make this a special Matthew and not put the other T?
Home Affairs.
Home Affairs. Really? Thank you very much.
From what I understand, normally the Mathews with double T, it's a surname.
Oh,
and
okay.
the Mathews with 1T, it's a first name, like myself.
Okay, all right. No, thank you very much for clarifying that, Mr. Mpete. Thank you for joining us as well. We hope to hear from you very soon. We did not manage to get through all the conversations we wanted to have in terms of the game, or in terms of the questions we had lined up. But thank you very much for the information you've given us today.
Thank you very much for the invitation again. Thanks.
All right, see you soon, Mr. Mpete. Cheers. Well, that was our conversation with Mr. Mathews Mpete here on Super TV. Channel 150 Open View Decoder. Stick around because we still got more international football we're going to be talking about.
You are watching Super TV, Open View, Channel 150.
Winners know when to pull out. Just SMS Super TV to 30978 and practice your pull-out game.
Big dog status, I'm a big dog vet. I pull up on the block in a big Corvette.
Is this thing on? Ayo, is this thing on? Because I'm gonna take over. This thing is not on. Nah, it's not on. Hello? It's not on.
You are watching Super TV, Open View, channel 150.
Warm welcome back to Super TV, channel 150 on your Open View decoder. It is Mo Sports, and you're joined by OB.KNOWS. And yeah, look, I'm holding it down for Mo. He's not here today, but he will be back in a few days' time. And we'll be taking it away for you like we usually do on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday and Sunday. So don't worry about it. But yeah, if you did miss it, we did have a conversation with the Daily Sun Sports editor, Mr. Mathews Mpete. We spoke about the situation that is currently taking place in South African football. We spoke about the awards. We spoke about the NFD itself. And we rounded it off by having a chat about Kaizer Chiefs. One thing I forgot to ask Mr. Mpete was, how true were those rumors about Kaizer Chiefs being sold to Saudi Arabia? I mean, I'm pretty sure Kaizer Chiefs fans, when they saw that rumor, they were like, oh, to Saudi Arabia we go. And I'm pretty sure, like, I don't think, though, a point from my thought on that whole Kaizer Chiefs situation, I do think that, you know, even if Kaizer Chiefs are sold to an Arabic nation, they would not move Kaizer Chiefs from South Africa. I do think it would just be new owners who will be pumping in oil money into the team. Next thing, you are competing like Sundowns. You know, you just never know what could happen once you get the new owners into the team. But look, let's get the formalities right. Let's start off with the Mo riddle. I mean, the answer to the, well, rather, to give us the answer to the Mo riddle, you just simply got to send us a WhatsApp on 0716214746. And as it comes up right now, I'll read it for you. It says, I'm a South African international whose career kicked off in 1981. I started off at Durban City before joining AmaZulu and ending up at Kaizer Chiefs. And I spent 9 years at Kaizer Chiefs. Who am I? I can't give you a clue. I actually wanted to give you a clue, but I think if I even say the word, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. So I won't do that. But yes, like I said, to give us the answer, just send us a WhatsApp on 0716214746. And yeah, we'll be with you. We'll read out your answers as well towards the end of the show. And we're moving swiftly right along into international football and what is currently going on in international football. And waking up this morning, I jump onto my Twitter and I see what's trending is the US men's national team. And they're trending because they just won the Nations League. It is the CONCACAF Nations League. Remember how we were complaining at the beginning of Mo Sports? We're talking about how the Nations League in Europe, the UEFA Nations League, is helping the national teams in Europe to play more regular football together, meaning that the teams can be able to gel much better, they understand each other a lot better, and meaning that if they get to a global stage, they will possibly dominate, you know. And it was interesting to find out that in 2018, it was the CONCACAF Federation that came through and they were like, we're going to start a Nations League here. And the final of the Nations League took place yesterday. It was the third installment, well, the second installment rather, of the Nations League. And it was won by the US of A. And the USA have one man to thank, and that is, his name is Ethan Horvath. And Ethan Horvath is the second choice goalkeeper for USA's men's national team. And there he is right there. I mean, at this point, we're looking at the second choice stopper for Club Brugge. And if you don't know Club Brugge is the same team that Percy Tau played for before he went on to join Anderlecht, which is currently coached by the one and only Vincent Kompany. So this is a goalkeeper who's usually not playing often, right? And he's the second choice for the US men's national team, as well as Zach Steffens, the goalkeeper for Manchester City, who's the second choice of the Man City team. He's the first choice of the USA national team, and he got injured in the second half of the game, and he had to be subbed off. And Ethan comes on, a 22-year-old goalkeeper. He comes onto the field, and he pulls off some very, very beautiful saves, forcing the game to go into extra time, right? And then Pulisic gets a penalty. He scores the penalty, Captain America himself. And subsequently, towards the dying minutes of the game, Mexico also, they get a penalty themselves. And guess what happens? Ethan Horvath makes the save, and subsequently winning it for USA in extra time, and they won the tournament there. And I felt like it was a need for me to mention it as the first talking point when you talk about international football, because you know how I love goalkeepers. I'm a goalkeeper myself, so I'm definitely going to say once one goalkeeper has done something great, I'm definitely going to say it out. And once again, congratulations to the USA for winning, or managing to win, the CONCACAF Nations League. And a couple of things I picked up in that game was how foreign it felt to watch or see or feel a stadium packed with supporters. I mean, it's so foreign now. I'm not used to it anymore. We're not used to it anymore. All we're used to is hearing ambience and seeing banners on the sides, on the stands rather, of the grounds. And yesterday it was quite a great sight to see the fans cheering on their teams. I mean, you know how big it is when it's USA and Mexico. You know it's definitely going to be a big thing, and that's exactly what happened yesterday. I mean, the commentary, the commentary as well. I mean, Mpete. But when you're watching a Mexican or Spanish commentary rather, from the kickoff in J, there's heat already. The commentator is excited to just talk about the kickoff in J itself. So you can imagine how he's talking about, or how he's feeling once a goal is scored. The noise that the commentators make when you're watching a Mexican game or a Spanish commentary while watching a football game. And I just felt like I had to make mention of that situation. But let's move on with some of the international news that made headlines this weekend. We're talking about Barcelona now, and they say they are not in a rush to renew the contract of Ansu Fati. Now, Ansu Fati, he had a brilliant start to the season, if you do remember. Had a great start to the season. If I'm not mistaken, in about 6 games, he played 6 games, he got about 7 goals. I do remember that he had more goals than he had games. And he got injured, got a knee injury, and had to go through knee surgery. And so he missed out majority of the season. Well, he's not returned to action as yet. I mean, he also misses out on the UEFA Euro rather 2021. He misses out on that, and that kind of does, take down the morale of a player. I mean, as young as he is, he's sitting on the sidelines watching, other youngsters, the likes of Phil Foden, the likes of Jack Grealish for England, coming out and going to showcase themselves and their talents at the biggest stage of world football. But it's unfortunate for him. And I'm talking about Ansu Fati because Barcelona have also managed to make some big signings. And having read an article based on what I'm currently talking about right now, they are saying that they're not in a rush to also sign Ansu Fati because of the fact that they're in the transfer market trying to make some good signings. I mean, if you have missed it, they have made some very, very big signings. Sergio Aguero is one of the first signings that have been brought in at Barcelona. He was followed by Eric Garcia, as you can see on that graphic right there. Eric Garcia is a defender from Manchester City. Pep Guardiola wanted him to stay at Man City, but unfortunate for him, he wanted to join Barcelona, a team which he captained from the lower ranks of his career. And as you can see, Emerson Royal is another player who has been signed from Real Betis to Barcelona, a right back which Arsenal fans will be very disappointed because they're not getting their hands on this right back, and it's unfortunate because of the fact that they are trying to replace Hector Bellerin in their team there, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. But let's move on to what else is going on in terms of the world transfer news. And Lille, the champions of Ligue 1. Let me tell you about Lille. Firstly, Lille are going through a management crisis, financial crisis. they literally went through last season, this past season, they literally went through it knowing their fate as a team, knowing that they might just need to lose some of their big players, and if they wanted to, sustain the team and make sure that financially the team is good. They'll have quite a pool of youngsters in that team, right? And most of them who won the league title for Lille might be out the door. And they started the first player to leave, 2 days after Lille won the title, the coach left, simply because he's not happy with the direction that the team is taking. I mean, they're letting go of all these star players. Who is going to replace these young star players? And recently, we spoke about a second player who left. The first player was Mike Maingan, the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper got most clean sheets in the League 1. And the second player to leave was Bubakari Somare. He is joining Leicester City. And of course, they do need a replacement for both the players. And they've already got an eye for who should be replacing Bubakar Somare. And it is a South African international who is currently applying his trade in Portugal for Belenenses. And I'm talking about none other than Sipepelo Sithole, a central defensive midfielder who, if you are on social media quite a lot, you would have seen the videos of him popping up on your timeline, because he's been very dominant in his breakout season for Belenenses. I mean, he's coming from the lower ranks, the youth development ranks, and he's coming up into a space where he's now playing at the highest level of Portuguese football. I mean, he's playing in the same league that Bongani Zungu played in before making his move over to France, playing in the same league that Bruno Fernandes recently came out of before going to Manchester United. So he's really surrounded by some great players, and I'm very happy to see him courted by some of the big teams. I mean, Lille are looking to replace him. If he does go to that team, he does get to play in the Champions League next season, and that's another South African player playing in the Champions League like Pesitao did a couple of seasons ago. So it would be very great to see what happens in terms of that. We got to go into the Italian Serie A, and I have to tell you a little bit about what Steven Zhang, the president of Inter Milan, had to say about the departure of Antonio Conte. And this is what he had to say. Last summer, the pandemic had greatly affected our revenues, but we continued with him, focusing on the season, convinced that we could win. The decision was right, but now the bill brought by the pandemic is such that we cannot fail to review the situation by looking for savings that lead to a future budget balance. Clearly, the 29-year-old owner of Inter Milan is more worried about the longevity of this team and keeping this team alive. I mean, we did say not too long ago on Mo Sports that one of the things that Inter Milan are facing is a possibility of shutting down as a club completely, and they had to do it. One thing they had to do was to make sure that they had to win the Scudetto, which they did, and Antonio Conte brought home the Scudetto despite him failing to do it the season before, losing it by 1 point to Juventus. And it did come out now that Antonio Conte would not only need to win the Scudetto, but he would also need to shed 80 million in the transfer budget, and that simply does mean that he might need to let go of a star player and not have someone to replace him, so it is a tough situation that Antonio Conte was put in. I mean, he's a serial winner of a coach, and for him to be forced to coach a team which is practically letting go of their big stars, trying to make more money, meaning that he'll have less quality in his team, is not something that Antonio Conte would want to see happen. And he had to leave the team. And unfortunate for him, a lot of teams are looking for him, though, at least. As Tottenham Hotspur have been saying, they want to bring him in, but it doesn't look like he'll be going there. I mean, he has already rejected a move down to London. So we'll have to wait and see where he finds himself in the next few months before the season does kick off. So that's how we have to round up our Most Sports episode today. It is unfortunate that we didn't get to really talk about Euro 2021, but look, we've got a lot to look out for. I mean, if you go onto your Superbets website, you'll be able to access all that information of the Euro 2021. Place your bets on who you think might be the winner, who might be relegated or rather eliminated in the first round of the competition. You will have to let us know what your thoughts are, and place your bets. Make sure that it's in there. And to round up the show, the answer to the Mo riddle, I'm pretty sure it wasn't that difficult for most of our viewers. I mean, it is something that happened way back in the 80s. The answer, who gave us the right answer, Terence? Peño Penyo, you gave us the right answer. And the answer for the Mo riddle is Neil Tovey. Mokoko. That's what I wanted to say. Mokoko. But had I said Mokoko, I'm pretty sure everyone would have known exactly who I was talking about. So yeah, that is our answer to the Mo riddle. Mokoko, he was the captain of that team that won in 1996, that AFCON in 1996. And we're still waiting for a captain to lift it for us at Bafana Bafana. Hopefully Hugo Bruce has one loading for us in the next few years to come. But look, do stay tuned to Super TV. I am closing off Mo Sports. Make sure to join us again on Wednesday. We will have a lot more to talk about in terms of international football and what is going on in the transfer markets. For now, though, keep locked onto Super TV. It is a good afternoon.
You are watching Super TV, Open View, channel 150.
Got something to say? Chat to us live on air via our WhatsApp line. WhatsApp us on 071 621 4746.
Get all the support you need at superbets.co.za. Register now. SMS Super TV to 30978. Super TV, Open View, channel 150.
Too many girls in the world, can never finish them. Too many girls. But us push in, boys. Us push it. We'd rather die trying.
I'm giving this guy a props.
Let's play it again for those that didn't hear. Those in the pack, those studio members that are in the pack that didn't hear this, bro.
Too many girls in the world, can never finish them. Too many girls. But us push in, boys. Us push it.
So, how far are you?
Oh, I push up when you can't, you push up it.
You're fuguzing.
Yeah, that we try. But I love those that this needs, I want to hear the female version of this.
Yeah.
Because against what the Maras push in, boys. What do the ladies have to say about this?
My wife telling me to come do the dishes. Haha, bitch, you come to...
Wash the fucking
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Oh.
So when the wife is not around, he acts so tough.
The facial expression.
No, mama.
Let's see this one.